DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are joined now by former Utah Athletic Director, Dr. Chris Hill, bringing you in on a super interesting day in college sports.
Just found out about it. Understood it maybe before, but just heard about it.
I bumped into you. You said you had a book that you're working on. It won't come out until 2026, apparently. We can talk about that. And then, since that happened, all the college football playoff blew up. And I'm not so interested in relitigating what happened as I am. There are going to be tweaks going forward. How would you tweak it going forward and make it better? And now we got the breaking news, and I guess we can just start there.
Sure.
That And there's still a lot of details to come. Ross Dellinger has a story on Yahoo Sports. The University of Utah on the cusp of striking the industry's first partnership with an equity firm in a marriage that features a 9-figure capital infusion. It's expected to generate as much or more than $500 million in capital. An executive team from Otro Capital, combined with athletics department personnel, will lead the creation and operation of the new company. The university retains majority ownership and decision-making authority of Utah brands and entertainment. So it sounds like this is going to be separate from the athletic department, but associated with it. We'll see. They're offering a prominent group of donors the ability to purchase a stake in Utah brands and entertainment. So I would assume Eccles, Garf, some of the prominent names that we see on buildings.
James.
Yeah. Not Hill. Well, interesting, huh?
Yeah. The move not completely foreign to college sports. Over the last several months, a host of schools, Kentucky, Michigan State, Clemson, have announced the creation of a private revenue-generating entity outside of the athletic department as the college sport evolves into a more professionalized ecosystem. None of those schools have partnered with an equity firm, so that's a little different. So this doesn't, on the one hand, you didn't know, and on the other hand, you're not completely surprised.
No, I'm not. I did hear some of that from a couple of the people I know around close to the program, which I don't talk too much. So, I didn't know it was that close, but nothing surprised me anymore.
Isn't this almost to the point of necessary for survival if you want to thrive?
That's not a bad idea. I mean, money's money, and you need the money, so it's just a matter of it's not good money or not. There's times that it could cause problems for you. But
and that's the thing is what type of problems do you foresee with so many hands wanting a piece of it now?
Well, the good side, it's money, and the Utes need money, like everybody else right now. But equity companies, I think people put in money to make money.
That's
if this is not a profit-making organization, then, it's a charity, but I don't know how people could put money into that and be a tax-deductible donation or whatever. But, for me, it's I wouldn't want people that are in an equity firm to trim down my program or talk about why do you have these other sports.
How much influence do they have?
Yeah. If you're part, you got to have some. Now, I was really, really fortunate that people may not understand, but the major donors didn't really want to tell me what to do. They just said, do well. And figure it out.
Right.
If you don't, you lose your job, but by the president. But I never felt like in the big decisions I was having other people tell me what to do.
And that matters.
Well, it matters because you're the one left standing if the coach doesn't do well or something happens the wrong way or whatever. So, and that's part of the job, and that's part of the juice of the job is being able to make things happen.
And that's what you see as a potential pitfall.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't want to make up pitfalls before it even happens because I don't know all the details of it. If the money comes with no strings attached, that's kind of an interesting thing why people would do that. But if it's a business, it's different because just like the athletic department, everybody says it's a business. We're a business on their generating side, but you're a charity on the other. You got people on your team, then you play 55 guys a day and you got 50 that aren't playing. You got a softball team that's losing money. I mean, so, if it's a business, it's a business, and maybe you take it outside of all the other sports, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't want to be anywhere other than just thinking like you guys are right off the top.
Right.
There's positives and negatives. I mean, the huge negative is they come in and cut expenses and they drop sports. I mean, that is like at the top of probably everybody's list of fears.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
That's
I'm
the
sure
negative,
you're right.
right?
Yeah.
Now, the positive is looking at things that are out there and doing things differently. And maybe they'll work and maybe they won't. PK's famous for saying try things. Maybe they work, maybe they don't.
Sure, I agree with that.
And there are things in sports, as the popularity of sports just continues to explode, what opportunities are out there? Now, this is only loosely associated with it, and don't take it too over there, but that the Olympic swim trials took their trials to Indianapolis and put them in the Colts Stadium, and they built a temporary pool,
right, yeah.
and they drew 30,000 people, and I have no idea how much money they paid or who was comped.
Sure.
It's like, think outside the box.
Sure.
What can you do?
Yeah.
I would have never said, hey, I think some Olympic swim trials should be moved to an NFL dome.
Yeah.
30,000 people showed up. You have my attention.
Yeah.
I don't know what's out there. I never thought, I've never been to the Maui Classic. PK's covered it 4 times and has all these stories. I never thought it would suddenly be trumped by a tournament in Las Vegas, but somebody had a new idea, tried something different with 6 teams and then with 18, and now they're going to 32, and paying the players NIL is working.
Well, yeah.
I assume there'll be more of that.
Yeah,
what's next? I don't know.
Yeah, Kansas bought their way out of the Maui Classic to play in this thing, and, it could go from, 16 teams at a Christmas tournament to 32 before Christmas. And paying the players, and the people are making money. People put money into that tournament. And it's a great example of thinking outside the box and working that way. At the end of the day, we are who we are, and Utah looked at that and said, we got other people putting in money for NIL and all this stuff. We got to find some. And sports is an emergency business. You can't wait around 5 years to figure it out.
That's a fact.
Yeah. You can't.
You don't have 5 years.
Well, that's the thing I tried to convince the university when I was there. Yeah, I actually grew up there. When I was there, that we're an emergency business, and which is really counter to what universities are. You have a football coach leave, you got 2 weeks to hire the most expensive guy at the university, and a president, you can form a task force, take a sabbatical, come back a year later. Or when it's 4th and 1, Kyle can't have a committee. Let's vote on it. And we got the
play clock's going,
and you got your quarterback that needs an MRI. I'm sorry, it's Wednesday. He's going to have it Thursday, and the university thinks you're obnoxious. Push it for that. Fortunately, our doctors understood it, but still, it's an emergency business. It's happening right now. I laugh. There's no 5-year plan now.
No.
Win as much as you can this year, do it the right way, and find some more money and do it again.
Yeah. And if you don't find the money, Utah had a really good team. 10-2 is a really good season, and the 2 losses are the teams that have more money and appear to be accelerating, not slowing down. So if you don't do something, you're not even going to be 3rd. Because somebody else in the league is going to do something, and then you're going to be 4th or 5th.
Well, that's the whole bag of crap theory I used to have. Yeah. They have a bag of crap, and we need a bag of crap. And I used to say, why don't we have 2 bags? Because then we could really beat them. But you just follow everybody. And so my question now is, and I used to say this to my friend that was at Ohio State, I said, you are from the beginning of time to the end of time always going to have more money than the Utes. We're just going to be smarter and better and develop our teams. And that's how we compete. So the top 10 teams in the country with all the new stuff going on if it works, they're going to do an equity stuff.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, they're going to say, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't want to be naive, but there'll be teams that slip in like Texas Tech and Indiana, but you're not going to see, no matter what the rules are, Ohio State 25th in the country.
No, that's the thing about it is that, and Utah, from the football perspective, has done just a phenomenal job the last 20-plus years of being able to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like they can't get to that level simply now more than ever because whatever you give, I'll outbid you. There was a situation that the University of Utah, this was literally told to me back when BYU was an independent, there was a coach that BYU wanted who was on Utah's staff. And basically Kyle just told him, whatever they're going to give you, I'm going to give you more.
Yeah.
Now it's changed.
No, that wasn't out of Kyle's pocket.
I know. Well, okay.
But I agreed with
Out of
him,
his
and
budget, not out
I
of his
think I
pocket. Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to compete. The challenge is Utah's got to stay at least where they are. That's what I think.
And now
people
you
are
can do
afraid
that with
of.
players.
Yeah.
I'll just pay you more. Texas Tech did that with this David Bailey kid who was at Stanford. And he got his degree, and they're obviously in a down cycle. He takes off. It's 4. He's got 1 year left.
Yeah.
UCLA, Texas.
Yeah.
Texas Tech says, just take the phone call.
Yeah.
He not only takes the phone call, he goes down there, and he's a superstar. He's a difference maker. And look at their team this year.
Oh, sure, that can happen. You know, the Utes are stealing from people too.
Yes.
You know, so they're allowed to.
Everybody is.
Everybody
Right. Well,
is.
it's that
That's the
pecking
way
order.
it is. It's a pecking order, and you know the way the portal is now. I like the fact kids can do what they want to do, but at the same time, that's not the way the world is in almost any job or any pro thing. So, do you think Eric Weddle and Alex Smith and Andre Miller would have been on this? As soon as they saw him play, Kentucky's going to buy Andre, and Texas is going to buy Alex. But then we'll buy somebody else.
The jump you made as a group of 5 team or whatever it was called then, but when you were in the Mountain West and Final Four, Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, all that success. How do these teams do that now? I'm looking at these G5 teams, and like you and Boise State and TCU, all the schools that kind of made the jump at that time and went to those games and won those games and could say, hey, we belong here. Now you start to build that, but you lose the kid every year. You lose the coach. I mean, both the schools going in this year, James Madison and Tulane, have already lost their coach before the playoff.
Yeah. It's a
they
tough
can't keep the
situation. I'm
kids
worried
in
about
development.
college sports and college football. I can't tell you how many people say, boy, your timing was great. And I say, I'm not that smart. There's no question. And so, you know, the pecking order used to be the same anyway. And how did we win the Sugar Bowl? Well, Alabama always had more money, but somehow we won. Well, now the money is exponentially more, you know, and now you can buy players. So it's a whole different deal. And I used to think we had coaches that could develop players. I mean, the people we had took Alex Smith and made them better, took our offensive lines and made them better. Now you don't have time to coach them up. Kyle can coach them up, you know, and now – you know, one of the strengths of Utah, I think, was getting players, diamonds in the rough,
talked about that.
Develop them. That's who we were. And, you know, we kind of knew that, you know, those 5-star guys they may have been bought then. I'd be surprised if they were. Yeah. And so we knew what our niche was. But then we can develop it, and you have coaches that, like Kyle, could pick out talent. You know, he knows what he's doing, or he moves one from offense to defense or whatever. And we just coached him up, we being Kyle and Rick and all those guys we had. And it's just a little harder. Now, that was Utah's niche. Now, if we can get on a level playing field with the same money, then maybe we can get it done. Now, I don't know what all the complications are. Like we just said, we found out this morning it was official, although we've been hearing about it all along. You know, so, you know, it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Well, I think what then Utah could do is that they can go and get Washington State running back, which is a lower program. They can go into New Mexico quarterback, which is a lower program, and they do very well. They had an outstanding season. 10-2 is just, I think it's great. It grades out to me as an A, and you lost the one game by 3 points to your rival on their home field. I mean, that's...
Yeah. I mean,
So
you
be
look
it.
at the season. Yeah, we could have been. Well, we really, literally could have been undefeated or one loss or be here this weekend.
The problem is asking them, and them being plural. Utah, the one we're using as an example, but there's plenty of examples to now go against the Tech, which has Cody Campbell. I pull into the Dallas Cowboys parking lot on Saturday. First thing I see in the back of a truck, a big poster. You know Cody Campbell, the Texas Tech booster. Big sign I see, Cody Campbell for president.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And, you know, universities has a certain cachet. I mean, they're a very prestigious part of any state. You know, I'm the big shot at Texas Tech. I'm the guy.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that I can go see the quarterback and say, "How you doing, Louis? Hello,
Right? Yeah.
how you doing?"
We're down there,
people
Chris,
have
at
money.
at Big 12 Media Days. They had it at the Star over there north of Dallas, and he's there. He's giving interviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a booster.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a chairman of the Board of Regents, but essentially he's a booster. And there he was. I'm on the field Saturday. He's holding the trophy. He's literally the most important person in that program.
Yeah.
And the only one who isn't going somewhere.
Yeah.
Coaches go all the time. ADs go all the time. Players certainly go all the time. But Cody's not going anywhere.
He can't fire himself either.
Yeah.
No,
well, if there are bad decisions, you know, he's not going to get fired. They'll just get rid of somebody else, and then he'll still be holding the trophy once they buy the right guys back. You know, I sound like a whiner now because I don't want to do that because it's new stuff.
It's
I've just
reality.
always feared people outside of athletics forcing you to make decisions that maybe you didn't think was right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's the fear I always had. I thought once I lose that opportunity to hire, you know, with advice. It's not like I was out alone in some smoke-filled room making my own decisions by any means. You had input, but at the end of the day, you kind of knew it was your deal if it didn't work.
Right. Yeah, but you had decisions made for you, and you hated it.
Yeah. If I had
the 16-team WAC, I remember standing in front of the Huntsman Center, and you explaining patiently to me because you were afraid I couldn't grasp why this was a horrific idea.
Yeah.
There was less money, and there were more teams, and it was only going to end poorly, and it took 3 years, and everything played out.
Yeah, Ernie. God bless Bernie Matchin, our president. He got it. First of all, I didn't find out about that. I found out about like when you did.
Right.
And we were all thinking we're going to add 2 teams. I think it was TCU and UNLV. But then we're sitting. I'm going, oh my gosh! I called. Do you guys know this? No, I didn't know this. And I'm thinking, okay, who made this decision? But then Bernie Matchin, I came to him 2-3 years later. Said, what should we do? I said, we got to form our own league. I was just kind of like throwing it out there, and he goes. It was Bernie. Okay, let's do it. He calls President Bateman, I think it was at the time. Mm-hmm. The 2 of them to get together. They invite 2 others. They meet in Denver. Wyoming shows up. They don't know why. And a new league is formed.
There you go.
And, you know,
obviously
but
the right move.
You're sitting there going, wow, you know, how did this happen? And you didn't like it. Right. Especially if you didn't have your day in court. If you have your day in court,
you get to make a case.
You get to make a case. And that's what gives you the enthusiasm and the vision to want to do what you do.
So has your book got a lot of these stories in it?
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up. We got to get you on the college football playoffs and where this might go in the future as well. Stay with us. Dr. Chris Hill in studio with DJ and PK here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's a Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Wins a pair of tickets to watch the Jazz take on the Lakers December 18th at the Delta Center. So you just gave us some stories there, kind of as a little bit of background, decisions that are being made, big decisions about this new venture with the private equity group and all that. Tell us a little. We got a short segment here, but tell us a little bit about the book you're working on. And we'll want to have you back in once we can read all the stories. And
that'd be good. Maybe in January or February or whatever.
Okay.
But no, it's just something started with the university wanted to do oral history, and then we were doing that along the way, and then COVID happened as everything changes. So I was just thinking of putting some stories together with Liz and what happened when we
Liz Abel.
Liz Abel. I'm sorry,
Right.
I know her so well, and what happened with the Pac-12? How'd you get in? What was Rick doing? What are some of the things that happened? And so then I was with a lunch with AD from Alabama, Iowa State, and North Carolina. I'm telling stories about I'm a Jersey kid that grew up and didn't know anything about the state of Utah. And there I am, an Irish Catholic Democrat as the AD at 37. How the hell did that happen? And we're telling, and they're laughing like, and I'm telling them, and they said nobody has that. Nobody has a Urban Meyer or Rick Majerus in 3 different leagues and all that stuff. I thought, they said, you ought to write a book. I said, well, I got some stories. They said, go ahead. So that's what I did.
You could have an encyclopedia with Majerus stories.
Oh, yeah. I had to limit him to 2 chapters.
We've all got a few.
We all got a few. And, I'm not beating anybody up except Larry Scott and one vice president at the university who's not there any longer, who during the audit I thought he was a legislator. And but that's it. Just some kind of what happened from my chair. I mean, we're calling it, we think, 31 years in the front row. You know,
Oh, nice.
and so, you know, and that's what the other guy said. You've been through 3 leagues and you've been there 31 years, and we still don't understand it until they came out here and I had them go golfing and skiing on the same day, and they said, we get it. We understand why you didn't want the Iowa State job. Okay, we understand why you didn't go here. You know, so you know, it's fun and some family things. But anyway, you know, we're not on Stephen Colbert and trying to sell my book today, but
not yet.
You know,
so just out of curiosity, do you go into whatever happened at Washington, because it did feel like you almost went to Washington, and then you didn't.
So I had one chapter that says, why'd you stay? Mm-hmm. And I had 4 really, really good offers. And then, not bragging, this book is not about me being a big shot or knowing more than anybody else. But went through the whole process. You know, I had my purple tie, and, you know, there was I ran into Bill Moose, who was going to be interviewed there from Washington, which essentially started the end of his job. And I talked to some people, and my number went down between Mark Emmert. This is funny. Mark Emmert was the president. He was the guy that went to the top of the NCAA. Uh-huh. And on one day he said I made X, and the next day the person comes in as 25 less, which is I don't give a damn. You know, I turned down playing money before, and so I'm thinking, do I really trust this situation?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, so that's what happened. I called a guy named Gene Corrigan, who was the head of the ACC and blah, 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 you know, one of the old mentors. He said, don't mess with happiness. You like your football coach? You like your basketball coach? Okay, your president treats you all right? Why mess around for X amount of more money and prestige? You got plenty going right now.
Plus, at that time, you'd already established yourself.
Yeah, it was kind of, you know, people thought I'd leave because I'm, like we talked, from Jersey, and all of a sudden I'm going to leave whatever job. People would be like, why aren't you going, Chris? Mainly my peers, you know, and then you look at it, and then obviously the dream thing came through with being in a big league, which is what we always thought. But, you know, I'm naive or a dreamer or whatever. But, you know, things worked out. But, you know, there were things where you said, it's funny, after the Duke situation, we went to the Final Four. Right after Washington, Urban came in and we went to the Fiesta Bowl, and then one with Oregon that people didn't know about. We went to the Sugar Bowl after that. So I kind of got rewarded for staying.
Yeah, clearly.
It was a kick. You know,
and that's the thing about, too, with you're talking about these players and now Alex Smith and Eric Weddle and all. And Eric, I would assume, would get his name up there on the football stadium.
Sure.
And forever, you've got a home in a sense.
Exactly. That's what I felt.
You can't buy that.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking, because people in sports, coaches, they don't have a home. Their kids don't have a home.
Right.
My kids, wherever they live the rest of their life, their home is going to be Salt Lake City.
Right.
Wherever they live. And also, the unique thing about my situation is I was here before I got hired. Mm-hmm. So I had friends that they could have cared less the Utes sports in terms of anything, but they cared for me.
Right.
But if you go to Washington, you're the AD. Everybody, you're the AD. You're the AD. You can't make a real good friend.
Right.
And that sounds corny, but you if you have that, you know, I mean, other people, and I was close. I mean, Washington's close I ever got, you know. But at the same time, when I look back and I think, I got good buddies. I have. You know, I played golf with guys before I got the job. And then when I got the job, I was mad at some coach. I'd tee it off and say, "That damn Kenahan," and they'd just laugh, and nobody else would know. So anyway, that's kind of some of the stuff that would happen.
Which is actually true.
Yeah,
I saw them on the golf course once.
But they're my buddies. So somebody said, "Who you want to play?" One of the TV state newspapers used to say, "What's your favorite foursome?" You know, they'd say Michael Jordan is, which I said, no, the pup, the coach, and the bear, my 3 buddies.
Yeah.
You know, Jim Curtis, John O'Brien, and Steve Lowe. Boom.
And
that's who I want to play with.
And you're here. Kyle has told me this, and we're the same age and lived in the same area. Mm-hmm. One of his greatest accomplishments is all of his children went to the same elementary school, went to the same junior high, went to the same high school.
Wow.
And they lived a normal life.
Wow, for head coaches.
Yeah.
And they probably, and Utah's a good place that way. Like I heard many times the pro players aren't inundated when they go to the restaurant. They're not, you know, this and that. So Utah's a special place that way. Yeah. And also, you know, we're not too slick. We're not Oregon. We're not somebody that needs to wear Gucci shoes. You know, it's kind of the way it is. But anyway, I mean, it's not about loyalty. It's about you like where you're at. You had a chance to win. They pay you enough, pay you twice a month, and you do the best they can. Now, understand that loyalty. You know, I got paid. It wasn't. Everything's this big loyalty. You know, it kind of is. But believe me, if I was screwing up too much, I'd be gone in New York.
It's more loyalty to yourself.
Yeah, right. It's how you feel, and you know. So I mean, there's it's just an interesting life. You know, all the different things, and you're involved in so many different things.
You were talking about the. You know, do you have relationships with the people around you and all that and the people you work with? We got to go to break here real quick so we can come back and talk football. But maybe you want to say a word or two about Beth Launeiere. 36 years as a coach, and she retires, ends with an NCAA tournament berth, quick exit compared to some of the other runs that she helped author where they went deeper. But nonetheless, that's a heck of a run.
That was so funny. We hired her when she was a young kid. We were 1-29.
I remember it.
Okay, and we had no money.
I remember the story.
So she and I would tease. We grew up together. I think she was like 27 and I was 37 or 38 when we hired her. So we kind of grew up with years together. And, you know, our volleyball program, 1-29, hadn't ever been to the NCAA tournament or even think. It was just kind of like a club team that just could be there. Yeah. And what happened, we looked 4 or 5 years later, we're in the NCAA tournament. When, you know, so God bless her. She did a great job. She stayed around. Yeah. And a lot of our good coaches stayed around. You know, so not ours, the universities, because it's not mine anymore. It's the universities. You got that? The universities coaches.
She'll leave as a legend.
Oh, yeah. She should. She should. I mean, you know,
36 years and having the influence on all those women, literally hundreds.
Yeah, and that's one of the juice, too. And I'll let you, we got to break. But that's part of the juice, too, is that they come back from Alumni Day and they know her. Yeah. It's not like there's a new coach there. I mean, it's like when I would come back after I retired, and I knew a lot of the volleyball players. It's like, hey, they knew me, and I knew them, and that was part of the excitement of it. So, you know, there's some real positives. She can really watch them grow up and have wonderful families and wonderful degrees and wonderful stuff.
Big time. But now I'm watching ESPN and Fox, and it's great that they're counter-programming football with volleyball, but nothing comes without a price. Transfer portal, NIL. I have a niece who is a GA at a D1, and I was asking her about NIL, and she's like, I can't believe the numbers the coaches are talking about. I mean, she's a GA, so she's not on the front line of that, but she hears all the coaches talking.
In all the sports, right? Or just...
Well, she knows volleyball. Because that's what she does. Yeah, but she's like there's... And she played D3, so she was nowhere near any of that stuff. But she... Yeah, she was saying it's real money. It's
I know. Well, I don't know if it is
dollars. For
I don't know where it
players.
is, but I didn't mean to interrupt you because I know I got to go to break. But my granddaughter plays soccer at Loyola Marymount, and I'm wondering, hey, if any comes your way, how about Poppy? And then I got one that's being recruited quite heavily. She's a junior. She's a judge, and I'm thinking, maybe a little bit. You know, they already got their inheritance from me. I told them. So how about a little bit back? Put me in a good nursing home. That's what I told them.
There you go.
We'll visit you.
Chris Hill in studio for one more segment. We're going to talk college football playoffs, how he would tweak things going forward. And Yahoo has a heck of a story out about the committee. Man, Notre Dame's going to hate this story. But they might already believe it. We'll get to that next. Stay with us. Join the Hands' Scotty Show. Friday, noon to 3. They're going to be at the Grill at 2264 South Main Street in Nephi. One last segment with Chris Hill here. Dr. Chris Hill, former Utah athletic director. All right, that was something. The college football playoff, 6 teams for 3 berths. It ends up 3 teams for 2 berths. Notre Dame is out. Other people are mad they're out. Texas is mad they're out. BYU is mad they're out. A lot of people can make an argument. Rather than litigating what happened last weekend, look to the future. Where do you think this is going, and where do you think it should go? Where would you like to see?
Okay, like to see,
go?
And other things are different. Yeah. The one thing you all got to say is college football is a big deal this week. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to make it a big deal,
you've done it.
It's a big deal. Yeah. So that's good for
business.
The whole business of that. Yeah. Where it's going to go is we were talking off air. I mean, what I wanted to do is have a tournament. What we should have is a tournament like we have. Make sure the number one top teams are in there, have a chance to win. I'm alone on this one, but maybe make sure that there's one team that's not in the big schools that when their players start the year, they still have a chance to mathematically get in if they win their championship. That's going to go away probably. Which bothers me a little bit, but who cares what I care about? But I think it's got to be it's got to be a legitimate championship every year, no matter who's in it, whether you got 16 or 18 or 20. The last two out are going to be upset. It's going to be awful, and that's going to be the news, and then they're going to play the games and win. The advantage of the basketball game is you can only complain for a week, and then you start playing games. Not even a week, 4 days or 3 days. Or this, you got a month to complain about it, And I just hope it doesn't kill the other sports, and if they go too big, it diminishes the regular season. So I'm for one that right now you can tweak who gets in and who gets out, but I kind of like the 12 and the number of games players have to play. So I hope it stays as a real reward to get in, and then if you didn't get in, you're going to – because I can't say bitch about, can I? On there? No. Okay, I just got kicked off. You can't complain about it, you know? And so let's get into champion. Let's keep going. I mean, in terms of interest, they're in the sweet spot. And I think we can find somebody with 12 and not just be from one league.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it can be more, I hate the word fair because I don't think that there's any such, there's a definition of fair, but there's no practicality.
Right.
But when you got like a Herb Street up there saying, well, they shouldn't be penalized because they lost their title game, and then somebody over here, and that's a bigger brand, and then somebody over here does get penalized for losing their title game, and they're a smaller brand, and I get where you're coming from, that you want to see the smaller brand have that opportunity, just one.
Right.
You just give them a crumb, but then within the structure, there's power brands, and even all the people who are on the other side of the line are only theoretically over the other side of the line because they still have to go up against these big-time programs.
Yeah, it's the way it's always been, so it always will be. If you tell me the Southeast Conference and the Big Ten universities are not going to be on top of football, then I think you're making yourself up and you're deceiving it. Making yourself up. You're deceiving yourself.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean, but other people may be listening and don't know. But the situation is that we're going to have the champion this year, and everybody now – Utah, if they win the league next year, they're in. So they just got to take care of business. Is it fair that there's brand names in there? No. You ever going to get fair? No.
No, that's my point.
I mean, do you buy stuff when you go to the store and shop at Nordstrom's, which my wife might do every other day? Yeah. Is that you buy some brands. You get the same brand in another store. So
and
that's what
fair?
it is.
My neighbor has cancer and I don't. I mean,
yeah. It's just, You are who you are, and, capitalize. Utah, now we're 10-2, and people are like, oh, what's wrong? And we're playing Nebraska. Everybody going, oh, geez, Utah's playing. We'll probably be favored.
They're favored by
20
14.
years we're going, oh, my God, Nebraska, we get to play them? Oh, my God. So, it shows you where Kyle and everybody's gone, and all the sports have happened that way, but it is kind of comical.
Yeah, literally 33 years ago, it was, oh, no, we have to play Nebraska.
Yeah.
That was the first game the Utes played when I moved here.
Well,
and I remember thinking, are they as overmatched as I think they are? And then the game happened, and I thought the answer was yes. And then I got to know Frank Dolce years later, and I was like, I remember. And he's like, oh.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And so that one of the first, not yay me, but one of the first things I did is, so we're getting rid of the blood games.
Yeah.
We're not playing those anymore. And we're going to play Southeast Louisiana State and not get hurt and find out where to get the other money. Because we already started with a loss. You get guys get hurt. We weren't deep enough. And, at the end of the season, when we played our rival, all of a sudden we're not like we were when we started here. All because of one game, maybe. And you start off 0-1, that's no fun.
Right.
Do you think that we're going to have a coaching change in football this year?
Wow. Everybody thinks, Chris, what's Kyle going to do? I said, I would never let Kyle talk to me about that. Okay? He said something to me a couple of years ago, and I was like, okay, how your grandkids doing? How's this going? Because there's no way. But literally, most issues, I still have a thread of maybe a head start on some people that haven't been. But I don't know about this. This is Kyle's decision. And for me, it was my decision. And sometimes my family wasn't so sure they wanted me to leave. Seriously. But it was kind of like it felt right. And some of the big decisions in your life, you don't marry your wife after you get a yellow notepad out and put pluses and minuses. You're in love, you love your job, and you decide, I don't want to do this anymore. It's that simple. And so That's a long answer. I'm delaying it, so hopefully we can go to a commercial because I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I get it.
What do you guys think? Oh, no, I'm not allowed to. Not allowed to answer.
That's fine.
I think that there are little things I've seen along the way
Yeah.
that make me think he probably will retire.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't even want to ask him.
No.
Even if he told me, I'm not sure. I believe I've told PK this off the air. This is such a personal decision. It
Yes.
is such a massive decision
Right.
that everybody has the right to change their mind. And in this whole process, it'd be interesting whenever Kyle finally does hang it up. To wait a year and let a lot of the emotion and all that and let him settle into whatever his new life looks like, right? And then say, how many times did you decide I'm doing it and then decide I'm not doing it?
Right.
And as a reporter, you're supposed to, and I mean,
Took
it's
the BYU job.
yeah, right? That's a great example. But as a reporter, you're supposed to be right. And so
Yeah.
sit up here and think, I think it's 60-40, 70-30, he's gone.
You're not
That's
supposed to be
reporting.
right.
That's-
You're not.
You're
Don't give me that
supposed to be
stuff.
right.
You're not supposed to be right.
Right.
No, no. You're not supposed to be right, and you don't have to pay the price for being wrong.
That's true. That's
All right,
gone
so,
away. That's over
come
the
on
course
now.
of our
Let's
change.
let's not get off on this.
That's where
It's
I've
changed.
always disagreed with you.
What?
Because you've told me that.
Oh, yeah, sure you don't.
You can get fired.
Oh, you can get fired.
You can lose your job.
Yeah, I
If
like.
I came in here and popped off a bunch of things that were inaccurate, I'd be out the door.
Yeah, but you don't have to worry about it being accurate. You just have a guess. You say, "Well, that was my opinion."
Well,
You're not held responsible for your opinion. Okay, let's not get off on
It depends
that.
on what your opinion is.
Well, yeah,
we can
well,
tell you specific
No,
stories.
please,
We can tell you.
please, let's not go to the fact that you have a bigger chance of getting fired than a head football coach. Just look around the country and see what the percentages of
Right, but we
radio
don't- we
guys
don't
that
have-
got. Okay, enough of that.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're more likely to get fired.
Yes.
There's-
Okay,
And
thank
I
you.
also think that Kyle,
th-
in my mind, I've talked to him about it. I don't want to scoop him.
No.
I didn't want to scoop Lavelle Edwards.
No.
I was told, I was on the beat that one year when he did retire, and other coaches told me, this is it. But I felt like I didn't really want to scoop
No.
it, and I don't want to scoop Kyle.
You're
on
right
this.
on that. That's what people. I said I have no idea. I just know whatever it is, he's going to be right,
Right.
and he'll make it right because that's who Kyle is. So whatever.
I think
decision-
that part that's probably underestimated.
Well, that's
he'll,
what
he'll
when
make
I-
it right.
Did
when I
you
gave up a
sign him
couple
to
jobs.
that
Yeah, he'll make it right.
the deal that he has going forward? Was that you were involved in that?
On a very smaller scale. It was kind of like if you want to retire, here's a little package. It wasn't little, but it was. But I don't know what's there now. Again, I don't want to know because there's a lot of money on the table. That if Kyle got fired, you don't want him to be wealthier than he would be if he retired in good stead. But I don't know. I know we had a little something. It's pretty common with everybody to have with a longtime coach to have a little something.
Some kind of ambassador
golden
position built in.
parachute or
Yeah.
whatever
It
they call
allows
it.
him to have
Yeah,
some
somebody-
connection
yeah.
to the university,
Yeah, well, I don't know even connection to university, connection to money and
which
respect.
is even better.
Yeah, respect. You don't want. I called my guy from Colorado, he's the AD, and he resigned, and he's
George?
got a special assistant to the. I said, I hope that means you get paid and get to play golf and don't have to do anything. He goes, yeah, that's kind of what it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'd like to take that. I wonder if I can get that here.
Nope. I've already inquired. The answer is no. I thought to
You
ask.
already asked, yes.
I did. All right. Anything else you want to tell us about college sports? Anything else we should have asked you? We could probably do this for another hour, realistically.
Yeah, we could. It's fun for me now just to kind of say what you want to say and do what you want to do.
Here's the theory. We started with the private equity stuff,
Yeah.
and we'll recap that in our next segment after you go and all that. But I'm curious about the ability to do new and different things and make money. Not all the good ideas have been had. Somebody out there has them, and maybe there's some smart people in this group. I see these international games, and people going to Ireland, and then I hear about the problem of traveling back, and that's where Kansas State season unraveled and all that. It says international games. What's to stop you from going to Vancouver or going to Toronto?
No, there's not. I mean, I was a firm believer that, all your market, the staff said I had a great grasp of the obvious. Mm-hmm. Just win. And that's what you need to do. And you'll figure out how to get the money someplace else. But, it's just a change with so much, but everything changed. I mean, every job has changed over the past. My job changed so much over the years because early on I could kind of do what I wanted and nobody cared. I can make decisions, and just us. Even our stadium was kind of a small group of people that made it happen. Now you couldn't build a freaking grandstand without having 32 people on a committee.
So it's
the
different.
South end zone.
Yeah, right. Labor was awful.
As different as 2025 is from 1995, but how different was that than 1965?
Oh, big, huge.
Yeah, right.
Huge. You played two sports, Yeah. And you actually, this is what I make fun with. I've got two guys that played college. One played in the pros in Israel, a Jewish guy, and he's still there now. So we do Zoom calls every once in a while, and he's saying, well, there's a bomb out. I better go there. But seriously. But it's so different because it was really fun. And those days we played sports. Boy, now I'm really old. We played at sports. We didn't work at sports. Basketball practice was fun. It was a game, and we played. Now it seems like a burden, and you like the competition.
Will Hardy was really, really angry during a timeout. It was 10-1. And it led to a lot of people, having seen recent games, thought that was justified. Good for Will Hardy. PK brought up a story he read. Somebody said, hey, that's from the Popovich school. Times have changed. You got to be really careful going down this road now. During your career, did you see, and with your grandkids playing, do you have to coach kids differently, whether they're AAU, high school, college, even into the pros? Do you have to coach differently now? Less yelling, less confrontation.
Rick would have had, now, Drew Hansen, could you please go back on the fast break? I know your mom and dad think you should shoot the ball
PTS
more.
right now.
But, that would be really nice, because I don't want you to leave someplace else. Are you kidding me? It's got to be so hard now. Oh, man. Greg Mars and I and Megan and Liz are all good buddies, and it would have been hard for people like that because you want to coach them up. And tough love is real, no matter how you look at it, as long as you care. And that's the kind of coaches, you want is they may be fired up, and you can't do things that our buddy used to do, but, it's so different
That's
now.
what I hear.
The coaches, as my job went on, I'd get more and more parents call me about their kid playing time. I said, that's why I hired the coach. The coach is a professional. Mm-hmm. If the coach doesn't win, guess what? They get fired. Well, my daughter should be playing. Well, the coach decided he wants to keep his job, and he's going to play the best players. Anyway, got off on that. But
sure.
That's what made it so different. I think the parental involvement, the fact that it's become not quite a game, and you can only play one sport, and the off season was not an off season. Off season was off season. They could go have fun, play pickup games, and go have some beers or do whatever after.
Yeah. That's changed dramatically. Yeah. It's the old Dan Hawkins, go play intramurals.
God, we sound so old today.
Yeah.
And I used to walk up both ways to school 3 miles.
But that's the reality, and the big money and the stakes, and everybody wants it, and all this. And the universities are raising ticket prices, yada yada.
Yeah, mine changed a lot. But it still was really fun. I enjoyed the people I work with, had a good time, felt we could make a difference. And so I told people I was kind of in the sweet spot for it being starting to get too much business-like and not fun. But it didn't happen to me. The people I work with were just smart, fun, passionate. It was great.
How many years you been out now?
I've been out 7, almost 8 in the spring.
Coming up on 8 in spring.
Yeah. Everybody thinks you've been out shorter, but that's you always have to guess more years. But 7 years. 7 years.
I find that with time too. That's really common. Whatever it is. I knew you were out during COVID. Right. So I got 5 for sure. But I was trying to think 7, 8, 10. Yeah,
right.
Right.
No, you always have to guess more. If you think it's 5, say 7.
7. Yeah.
Yep. But
Chris, we appreciate the time. Thanks for the hour. And we'll do this again after the new year when your book is out. We'll want to dive into some of those stories. I'm sure.
Yeah, there's fun ones. What?
When's it coming out?
Well, we've got a publisher we're working with now, and that just depends. I'm terrible with details, so we're hoping sometime end of January or February. It takes longer. Again, it takes longer than you think. But see, I'm on no timeline. It doesn't matter to me because the book really is about for me and my family. Believe me, I didn't make any money. I could care less, But I wanted the stories memorialized for my family as much as anything.
Yeah.
I want to read it because I felt like at least a portion of it, I was there.
Oh God, you were? You were there during a lot of things that happened. So both of you. So But thanks for having me. It's always enjoyable.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Chris. DJ and PK will catch up on everything you missed in this show next. And it's a Utah Jazz Ticket Tuesday. We'll give away Jazz Laker tickets right after the break. Stay with us.